It's 2 a.m. in Manila. Most of the city is asleep. But in a brightly lit room at an operations control center, things are already in action. Weather maps are being analyzed, flight plans are being filed, and aircrafts across the country are being prepared for takeoff. In this video, we are going behind the scenes. From flight dispatch to arrival in the destination, I will walk you through what really happens to get a flight off the ground. Just a note, it's more complex than just showing up at the airport and boarding the flight. I am Flight Dispatcher Nat, and welcome to the pre-flight brief. So let's start with the basics. What is flight operations? In its simplest terms, it's everything that happens in a flight before, during, and after to make it legal, safe, and efficient. So that includes flight planning, weather monitoring, fuel calculations, crew scheduling, ground coordination, aircraft servicing, even gate assignments, and many more. We often think of flying as something that only pilots and flight attendants handle. Well, of course, they're essential, but behind every flight is an entire team of flight dispatchers, crew schedulers, load controllers, fuelers, ramp agents, air traffic controllers, and many more. Think of it as a well-organized orchestra. It's just that we replace instruments with aircrafts, fuel trucks, and radar systems. So let's imagine a flight from Manila to Cebu. What is the first stop? It's the flight dispatcher's desk. The flight dispatcher, that is me, is responsible for analyzing the weather, not just the origin, which is Manila, and the destination Cebu, but also the weather along the route and at the alternate airports should there be a case of diversion. Then comes route planning. We choose the best airways, check the NOTAMs, calculate the fuel needed for the flight based on the wind conditions, aircraft performance, and current weight. And after all that, we submit the flight plan to air traffic control. All of this planning happens hours before the passengers even show up at the airport. Now the captain and first officer arrives at the airport. It's usually 2 hours before departure time. There they will receive a dispatch release. It's basically the flight manual. So in this dispatch release, it contains the flight plan that was made by the flight dispatcher, weather data, fuel load, aircraft status, and any other information that is essential for the operation of the flight. The crew then reviews all of these documents together, checking if there are any restrictions along the route like terrain, or if the aircraft has some MELs or what you call the minimum equipment list. And through analyzing the weather data, they will see if there's any crosswinds at takeoff that will affect their takeoff performance. So this crew briefing is not just a formality. It's a crucial step in building shared situational awareness. While the crew is briefing, the ground team swings into action. The aircraft is fueled, the catering is being loaded, bags and luggages are being weighed and balanced and loaded to the aircraft, and the final passenger count comes in. The load controller generates a document that is called the final load sheet. This document confirms that the aircraft's center of gravity, Fuel and weight are within safe limits. Once everything checks out, the pilots will now request for a pushback clearance to ground control, and they will taxi their way to the runway and take off. Once airborne, the flight crew maintains contact with the ATC or Air Traffic Controller and OCC or the Operations Control Center. The OCC officer, which is most often the flight dispatcher as well, maintains active monitoring for every flight of the airline. If weather develops along the route or there is any expected congestion along the route, the OCC officer will coordinate this to the crew through the use of ACARS or Aircraft Communications Addressing System and suggest any contingencies or any reroutes or holding patterns to do. Once the aircraft enters the cruise phase of the flight crew maintains vigilance in monitoring the aircraft systems, monitoring the fuel burn, and actively communicating with ATC and OCC is a never-ending task for the pilots. The aircraft touches down in Cebu, but the work is not over yet. Post-flight tasks begin immediately. The pilots will log the flight to the aircraft's tech log, maintenance personnel reviews any issues, and the ground teams prep the aircraft for the next turnaround. In less than an hour, the aircraft is ready to fly back to the skies. A few years ago, I've heard of this great quote from a flight dispatcher. It says, "The best day is when nothing happens, but you've planned for everything." That really sums up the invisible success of flight operations. Think about it. How many typhoons were rerouted last minute? How often do pilots deal with holding patterns at NAIA because of traffic congestion? These teams, apart from the pilots and flight attendants, handle stress daily. And if you never notice, it means that they're doing their job well. From dispatch to destination, every flight is a result of hundreds of decisions, and most of them are invisible to the passengers. So the next time you fly out of Manila to Cebu, Davao, or even out of the country, please think about the flight dispatchers who analyzes weather for the safety of the flight, the ramp agents who are tirelessly servicing the aircraft, rain or shine, and the OCC staff and air traffic control watching and monitoring your flight until you safely arrive at the destination. If you found today's video insightful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions or questions in this topic or in aviation in general. Just send them in the comments, or you can reach me through my other social media accounts in Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you for watching. Until next time, safe flight.